Good morning. Better late than never, so they say. Sorry that I'm late coming in this morning. If you could see the chaos behind me, I was out all day on Saturday at a fundraising craft day, and I was out all day yesterday with my lovely girls, my two daughters and my future daughter-in-law. We were out all day yesterday at the NEC, looking at lovely Christmassy things and crafty things. So consequently, everything from the all-day craft day on Saturday is just all over the floor in the craft room, and it's taken me a little while to dig through it all and find what I needed for this morning, but hopefully I have managed to find everything. I've got the printer whirring off in the background for something I'm going to share with you in a minute. But let's get started. My name is Helen Jennings. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based here in the UK. And I come to you armed with my cup of tea on a Monday morning to share with you our product of the week, to do a little bit of crafting today. And then on Thursday, I will be back to share a little bit more crafting. Now, it may well be a bit earlier on Thursday. I will post the time for Thursday's live, but I have got my bingo evening. So I've got my Completely Crackers bingo evening on Thursday evening, which starts at 7:30. So obviously I can't still be here doing a live at 7 o'clock. So I'll bring that to you a bit earlier in the day, and I'll post what time that's going to be when I've got my head around what I'm doing this week. I've not even done that yet, so we're very on the hoof this morning. So I will do that for you a bit later. Morning, Megan. It will probably be maybe 4 o'clock-ish, something like that, but I will let you know. Let me just wander over to the printer. Wonders of microphones, I can take you with me. Oh, the colour ink is going in my printer. Never mind, it'll be enough to share with you. Okay, so our product of the week this week is the Wrapped in Plaid suite. This is a beautiful suite of products, really traditional Christmassy colours, and lovely punch and stamp set and all of those sorts of things to make some fabulous Christmas projects. And this is actually it was most of this bundle. I think the ladies who came on my all-day craft retreat got at least some of everything in this bundle. So they certainly had the stamp set and the punch in their kit. They had, I think it was half a pack of paper and half a reel of ribbon. They had a pack of jingle bells, and they had some of the gold mini pizza boxes, as well as some foil and glimmer paper. So this was what they got to take away from their retreat. So if that sounds like a good deal to you, then do look out on my website for the retreats that are coming in 2020. I'm going to be running 2. And you always get at least £50 worth of new product in your goodie bag. So the Wrapped in Plaid suite, some of the ladies that were on the retreat will have already been playing with it, but it is really lovely. So let's have a little look in close up what you get with this suite. So you get a stamp set, the Perfectly Plaid stamp set, which has a whole range of trees. You've got this really nice sort of plaid tree. You've got this tree here that's you can actually use with this one, so you can stamp this one and then use that one to fill in the leaves on this one, or you can use it as a standalone tree. It's really nice as a standalone tree as well. And then you've got this sort of more realistic tree just here. You've got a pine cone, you've got these little pine cone just here. They're really cute, sort of two-step stamping there, and you've got some really nice Christmassy greetings. I particularly like this one, hoping that your busy year comes together in Christmas cheer. So that's some really good greetings and stamps in there. You get a punch that goes with it. I'm just apologise, I'm just looking. I've a sort of strange. I'm really sorry about that. I just had a text message come up to say that somebody had accessed my MailChimp account, and I thought, oh, well, that's not good. So when I looked, it was a late message from Saturday, so it wasn't today at all. So that was very bizarre. So do apologise for that. So yes, totally lost my train of thought there. So we've got the papers, the stamps, we've got a beautiful punch that goes with it, and that obviously will punch out any of your trees. And this tree here, you've also got a separate little trunk that you can stamp with that tree. You've got the papers. The papers are beautiful. So these are one side of the papers, and on the one side you've got like the patterns. So this one's got little, let's flick through them, gather them up. You get 12 different designs, double-sided designs, 4 of each in a pack. So there's little deer, there's stripes, there's spots, there's stockings. They're fun, aren't they? Green spots, sort of starry snowflakes, little green pine cones, some more deer, some little holly berries in there. These Christmas trees you can actually punch out with your punch. You've got some little red trees there and some stripes, and then when you turn it over it is all plaid, and you get sort of all these sort of tartany effects, and you get gold foiling in each and every one. So they really are lovely. I do love this paper, and obviously being this sort of plaid paper, it makes it really good, particularly for men's cards, and it doesn't just have to be for Christmas. You know, that's fairly generic, some of the patterning in some of that paper, so that's really lovely. So I said 12 double-sided designs, one side foiled and the other side you sort of more flatter pattern. 4 of each, 48 sheets in your pack, and they're the 6x6 papers, which are really lovely. So we have some 6x6 papers, our stamp set and punch. We have this ribbon, which is shaded spruce green ribbon with this gold thread running through the middle, this gold stripe running through the middle, which makes it perfect for going with many of these papers. You get some jingle bells. They're great fun. So you've got the shaded spruce ones, the cherry cobbler ones, and the little gold ones to add on to your projects, and our gold pizza boxes. And we've used our gold pizza boxes in a couple of projects already. In fact, we used one last Thursday. So there's the bundle of products that you get with this fabulous suite. Let's have a little look at some of the things I've already made with it, because obviously I had some ideas and things at the retreat. So we've got a really pretty tag here with a little jingly bell on it. That's really lovely. So some of the ribbon jingly bells, one of the stamps, I don't know whether you can catch on there. So I've stamped the outline of that tree in crumb cake, and then the infill stamp. So that's that 2-step stamping. I've used the shaded spruce on there. There's some of that paper in there, one of those jingly bells, bow of that ribbon. So yeah, a really nice use for those little tags. This is one of the gold pizza boxes. So use some paper, use some of the ribbon, another jingly bell, and I've just punched out one tree out of gold glimmer paper, and these two have been gold embossed. And I used the gold metallic ink to stamp the greeting and a few of the little Christmas rhinestones. Morning, Sally. So that's a nice gold pizza box. This one, very different colourway. So again, I really quite like this sort of stylised tree, just done in multicolours. 3 are stamped directly onto the card. These 2 are raised up with dimensionals and just really fun colours. Flirty flamingo and coastal cabana, and Christmas doesn't have to be about red and green. It's fun, isn't it? So this one is a lot of silver embossed one. So you've got the solid tree that's silver embossed, again this sort of stylised one, and that's sort of, so they've just been stamped and embossed and punched out and gathered around the Starry Night. So these are stars from the Lots of Stars stamp set, so just added lots of stars on. Some silver thread, so blue and silver is always nice classic colours. Got another little tag there, so this one is looking more grey tartan. I think that was grey granite and cherry cobbler, and cut out some little stars from red glimmer paper. So that's another fun, and this is this really fun ribbon, curly ribbon. It's got this sort of wool effect to it, really lovely. And this was a project from the lovely Elizabeth and Liz Shannon for this little tissue box. So you can open it up so you can refill your little tissue box. So there we go, that's a little tissue box made up with that perfectly plaid papers. And good fun. Nice little gift, a little stocking filler or something, or just to have on your office desk over the Christmas season so that you're feeling festive. So those are some of the things here's some I've created earlier. I'm going to have a slurp of my tea. While I'm talking about tea, so on Saturday we were doing an all-day craft day raising money for Golden Years, a local charity that works with older people, ensuring that they get out and about and socialising and having a good time. And boy, do they have a good time. They're opening up a new unit not very far away from me actually, and that opens on Friday. So I have here a whole lot of invitations. So if anybody is local and are interested in going along to the opening of the Golden Years Unit 21, and with Kitty's Closet, which is they get donations of lots of lovely sort of occasion wear, so that if you're looking for a nice outfit to go to a wedding or a Christmas do or something, then go and check them out down at Kitty's Closet. So that they do a really good job, and Meg is lovely and she works so hard, so I am delighted to be able to be supporting her. So this is happening on Friday, so if anybody wants to go along on Friday and see them, you can book yourself a ticket. I think the tickets are £5 if you book in advance, £7 if you just turn up on the door. And the other thing that I've got here from Kitty's Closet is that Meg was desperate to give me something as we came away on Saturday, and she said, would you like some of our Golden Years Kitty's Golden Blend tea? And I said absolutely I would. I haven't got Kitty's Golden Blend in my cup today, but I will perhaps make sure that that Facebook Live Day is Kitty's Gold Blend Day. So really lovely. They've had this tea especially blended in memory of Kitty, who was Meg's grandma and who was the inspiration behind the charity. And it's a good cuppa because I was drinking it on Saturday. It is really lovely, and these make really lovely little gifts. So they are, I'm sure she said £4.75 for a pack of this tea, but would be a really nice thing to pop in Christmas stockings and things. So there we are. That's my plug for Golden Years while I slurped my tea. Let's have a look at the card that we're going to attempt this morning. Now I say attempt very loosely. Let's see how we get on. So we're going to have a little go at this card just here. I am just looking in my box. I'm just thinking of one thing that I know I didn't grab out of these boxes, and I'm just wondering whereabouts that went. Excuse me while I rustle around. There's one thing I am going to need is a water brush. Is there any water in that one? No. Let me... Actually, let's do it a different way. As I haven't got a water brush to hand, let us be a little bit more inventive, because what I have got to hand is a spritzer. So we will spritz instead of painting. Okay. So, as I say, we're going to make this sort of watercolour wash attempt card just here. Now, what I have got is I have got a crumb cake card base. Hello, Angie. A crumb cake card base just here. I've got a piece of Whisper White card. So the card base is cut to 14.9 by 21, scored at 10.5 centimetres. And then this little bit of Whisper White on the top is 14.4 by 10 centimetres, And then I've got a piece of watercolour card that is 13.9 by 9.5 centimetres. Now I've not yet attempted to do a trial run of what we're about to do. So, drum roll. It's a bit like swinging on a trapezium or something. Let's see where this takes us. Right, so rather than getting out a water brush, I do need to get myself a new pool party ink pad. So rather than getting out an ink brush and watercolour washing the background, I'm going to put some pool party ink on to that block. I am going to get my spritz and I'm going to spritz it. So we'll do like a smooshy background. So it won't be such a solid colour. Oh, but we've got the, perhaps put a little bit too much water on there. We have got the trees going on the top. So let's give that a tap tap. There we go. So that's given us a bit of a background. So we've got a bit of a sky type background, and we've got trees coming in here. So I'm not worried that there's a bit of a gap in the middle there. So let's clean up this block with my bit of kitchen towel, take off that rest of that ink. So we have our sky. Let me just pop that ink pad to one side. I think we don't need it again now. So let's find our tree. So the tree that we are going to be using is this sort of realistic looking tree just here. Now we may need to put some of the trunks in. We probably won't need to, so I'm not going to be particularly worried. We will just fill them in if we need to. So let's take our little realistic looking tree and what are we thinking? A C block? Yes, I think so. Right, what we're going to do with this, and as I've said to you before on a Monday morning, I just get the recipe, if you like. They call them sample recipes as to what they have used to create the colours and things they've used, and they might give me a bit of an idea on technique. So they have said about spritzing faux watercolouring with spritzing your stamp before stamping, which is what we're going to do. But other than that, we don't get very much instruction. And it does say that we want both mint macaron and shaded spruce. And I looked at the picture and I'm thinking, well, I'm not really quite sure where that goes. But I think what they have done, and we are going to try this, is that they have stamped up their tree with mint macaron, and then they have just added in randomly some shaded spruce, given it a spritz, and then stamped. Fab. Again, that might have just a little bit too much water on it, so let's just dab that excess off. Great stuff. I think that is very definitely what they've done. So we're going to repeat that a couple times more, and obviously every tree is going to look slightly different because it's just going to depend where your shaded spruce was, and some you might want to put a bit more on than others. Hi Michelle. Again, let's bring in our, I could let that to dry and it would be a bit more sort of texturized probably. And then I think in terms of stamping direct onto this card, I'm going to do one more. Those are quite fun, aren't they? So mint macaron, and this one I'm just perhaps going to put a little bit round the edge, not quite so much on this one, so it will be a different colour again. We'll have that one down here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a few, perhaps about 3 onto some cardstock and then punch those out so that we can raise those ones up. Now let's start with mint macaron. Let's add in some shaded spruce. Give it a spritz. Morning, Sarah. Give it a stamp. And mint macaron. Shaded spruce. Oh, that's quite fun. That one covered almost the entire tree, but just with sort of like a bit multi-tonal, which is quite fun. And then we'll do one more. So mint macaron. What shall we do with this one? Dabble, dabble, dabble. A little bit here, a little bit there. Give it a spritz. I'll turn this round because I obviously need to be able to punch it. And give it a swoosh. And obviously, once you sort of dabble it, it would be darker, so I took quite a bit of that off with the kitchen roll, but actually that's quite fun. Okay, so we've got 3 more trees there. So let's just cover up that ink pad for a moment so that we don't put our elbow in it. And let's get out our punch. And obviously this is just going to punch the top bit of the tree. If we need to chop the stalky bit off, we can do, but the chances are we won't need to, the way we're going to be building it up. So obviously the outlines on this as well have gone a bit swooshy with the watercolouring, but that's all good fun. Okay, so we've got our 3 trees there. Now the other thing we're going to do on our background before we stick these trees on is we are going to do a bit of splattering. Now, as we've already said, my water brush from my desk is still packed somewhere in the kit that I took with me on Saturday. So if we add some water to that, I have got a dry water brush here, but that's okay because we've made it a wet solution. And let's just spatter some navy spots in the background. To add it's not spotting quite as much as I'd like it to, so let's add a bit more water and make it a bit runnier. That's more like it. There we are. So a bit of a spattery background. So we've just spattered some Night of Navy across the background just there. And I'll give that brush a good clean up in a minute. We're going to add in our other trees. I think we'll have one just here. just there, and one behind it, sort of just there like that. So let's find some dimensionals to pop those up with. I hope you're all having, so for those of you in other parts of the world, I hope you've had a good day. For those of you that are here and it's fairly early in the morning, I hope you had a good night's sleep and that you're ready for a good day. I am still, as you might have gathered, as I keep clearing my throat and things, still battling a sore throat. I just cannot finally shift it. Let's have this one sort of standing up a little bit. Now I am putting something across the bottom here, so I'm not particularly worried about what this bottom looks like. I am not concentrating on its bottom. Let's put this final one in, and we'll put that in so that it sits a bit lower down just there. They're looking quite fun, aren't they? Right, I'm going to take some of this perfectly plaid paper. Now let me have a little dig through. I have got some pieces here that are sort of cut into, rather than necessarily cutting up another whole big piece. What would we like? Oh, that one would be rather good fun. Or shall we go with that one? What I might do actually is get my paper trimmer, and I'm going to trim a little bit off of this end, and then cut. Let's make it about sort of 2.5 centimetres, an inch wide, like that. And then I've got that nice gold thread almost running down the middle of it, and then let's cut it so that it's, I think if we cut it to about 14.4, I'm going to take that off the other end and leave that bit of gold on that end, take it off the bit that hasn't got any gold foiling going down. So right, we've got a piece of paper there. Might need to cut that down a little bit. Michelle, I know how you feel. You get busy, don't you? And it's like, now I need to get on and do some crafting. I'm going to cut this down to 13.9. I need to get on and do stuff. That's how I am today. I've got lots of stuff that I need to get on and do. I think we're going to trim that down a bit narrower. I think that's perhaps a little bit too wide. Let's take a little bit off each side. We want to sort of maintain it so that we've still got our bit of gold thread going down it. That looks as if it might be a bit better. That's better, isn't it? We'll have that coming down here like that. So let us, and I have got my snail there, but I'm thinking that with the watercolour card, which is a little bit more heavyweight, and the fact that we have been adding water to it, I'm going to use some Tombow to stick this down. So we are sticking that onto a whisper white background. We had our grandson to stay over, to sleep over on Saturday. That was good fun. So after my long day crafting, I came home and he was already here waiting for Nanny to read him stories. He's 2.5 and he's a joy. I'm sure, as everybody else would say, that their grandchildren are too. I may just be slightly biased on the Kellen front. I'm going to put a dimensional in there and a dimensional in there, and then I think we'll just have a little bit, just have a little edge bit. Ooh, to stick on this end just here. But they're also hard work, Michelle. I wonder, I mean, I have 3 children of my own, and for many years I was a childminder and cared for many children at one time. But now, when I've just had them one at a time, I wonder how on earth I did it. Because they're exhausting. Or is that because as a grandparent you put so much more effort into playing with them while they're here? You put everything, you know, it's you're running around and doing all sorts of loopy things that possibly as a parent you just didn't have the time to do. Right, so we've got a stripe, 4-year-old. Yes, my granddaughter's sort of 3 and just over 3.5, coming on 4. And they're very funny because they're just like little old lady. She's like a little old lady. I don't know whether she's watching. She might be this morning. I don't know whether, because I know her mum is on holiday this week, which is always a joy, isn't it? So let us cut ourselves a bit of cherry cobbler cardstock there. And what we're going to do with this is we're going to bring in some, ooh, that's handy Harry, here's my white embossing powder. And where's the stamp set gone? Just here. We are just going to stamp the bit that says Christmas cheer. So in order to do that, obviously, we need to do a little bit of masking. So let's put our stamp on our block. And I've got some low tack tape here. You could use washi tape, you could use post-it notes, anything. What we need to do is we need to cover up the piece of the stamp that isn't Christmas cheer. I think we've possibly got pretty well all of that. To take my embossing buddy and just give that card a bit of a wipe. Dig out my Versamark and we're going to ink up the stamp with Versamark. And this is when you're doing any masking, this is the important bit. Take that tape off, because if you don't, that tape will have picked up some ink and when you press down it will still transfer an image through the tape. So let's see if we've managed to get that masked right. If there just happens to be a little spot or something that's picked up extra, we can just brush that off. Morning, Lee. Thank you. Right, I am going to just grab a little paintbrush. We seem to have gathered up a little bit more embossing powder than we'd actually like. But I think we did very well on our masking of our Christmas cheer. We didn't pick up anything extra there. Right, let's find my heat gun, switch that on. While that's heating up, let's pop the lid on this embossing powder so we don't knock it flying or woof it all over the place with our heat gun. And let's just heat this up. I was introducing a couple of people to heat embossing on Saturday. Always exciting. Right, I'm going to take my big scissors and just trim this down. Just snip a bit off of that end. Should have just got my trimmer out really, but there we are. That will, we're getting there. And then I'm going to do a banner end on this end. Actually looking, I think it should be banner end the other end. So let's cut that flat and let's do a banner end this end. Like that. And that can come across on our card here. I think we'll bring it across so it's coming around here. So let's pop that up on some dimensionals. 1, 2, 3. So this was just a bit of strip of cherry cobbler card that and white embossing powder I've used to do that greeting. About there, do we think? That's looking quite good, isn't it? Right, I've also got here somewhere a little scrap of Whisper White card because we're going to dig out Early Espresso, and from our stamp set we're going to take the little pine cone. I love this little pine cone. It's very sweet, got lovely little detail in it. And I think we'll probably stamp out about 3 of these. 1, 2, 3. Look at the details in those pine cones. They just are, it's just a fabulous stamp. It's gorgeous. Right, let's take our little snips and let's cut these ones out. No punch for the pine cones, I'm afraid. That is a bit of fussy cutting, but if you leave yourself a little bit of a border all the way round, it still makes it look uniform, but you haven't got to get into all those little nooks and crannies. There are times when I will happily sit and cut all of those nooks and crannies, but I'm not sure that 8 o'clock on a Monday morning is either the time or the place. So there's 2, let's have 1 more for luck. I'm really liking the way those trees have come out with that sort of multi-tonal mint macaron and shaded spruce. Okay, so let's just put, I think, a little bit of Tombow on these just to stick them down directly. And then I might put a little dimensional on that one, just to raise this 3rd one up. Like that. And then last but not least, we'll just take a little bit of linen thread. My linen thread box got dropped a couple of times on Saturday, so it's now a box of tangled threads that need to be sorted. Actually, I'm going to double that over. So we've got a double thread and tie a bow with a double thread. And make it a double bow. And then we will take our scissors, she says confidently, there we go. Snip those ends off. Let's find a little glue dot. And we'll add that bow in. on that end underneath those pine cones. Right, for good measure, I am now going to take this entire topper that we have created and stick it on to a crumb cake card base. So this is a slight tweak from in the one in the catalogue, because they've created a crumb cake envelope for theirs, but I felt as if it needed just a little tad bit of colour behind there. So there we have, there you go, that watercolour, that faux watercolour, by inking the stamp up first with mint macaron, then adding in some shaded spruce, then giving it a spritz before stamping it. So these three were stamped direct onto the card, these three were stamped and punched. Rather than doing a watercolour background, we did a smooshy one, so we just added some Pool Party ink to a block, spritzed it and stamped that onto the card base. We've added in some flecks of Night of Navy in there. So I don't think that's a bad representation. So there's the card in the catalogue that we were giving a bit of a case to, a bit of a nod to. Ours is slightly different, but there's ours. So some Christmas cheer using that perfectly wrapped in plaid suite, perfectly plaid papers, and the perfectly plaid stamp set, wrapped in plaid papers, perfectly plaid stamp set, the pine tree punch, bit of white embossing, some of that lovely paper. So yeah, that was good fun, and Kate worked out much better than I anticipated. I love it when that happens, when you're never quite sure where a thing's going to go and it comes out, you're really pleased with it. So good stuff. So this week, a busy old week, as I said. I have a class on Wednesday afternoon, which is the Mega Christmas Stamper Stack. So we are going to attempt to make 10 cards, although we have been challenged to make 12. We'll see how we go. So 5/6 designs, 2 of each. So going to work them hard on Wednesday afternoon. So there's still space around the table. Hi Glenda, if you live locally and you'd like to come and join me for my Mega Christmas Stack, we still do have some space around the table. It would be lovely to see you. So I'm looking forward to seeing those ladies on Wednesday afternoon. Tomorrow, Tuesday evening, I'm over at Morsley, the centre at Morsley. So if anybody is in that neck of the woods, do come and see us tomorrow evening. I think the centre have got a firework display going on at some point as well. So whether we shall see the end of the fireworks, I don't know. That'll be fun, won't it? And we might see them all. I don't know what time they are. So that's tomorrow. So fireworks and crafting over at Morsley tomorrow. Christmas card making here on Wednesday. Thursday evening is the bingo night. So if you would like to come along and join us for the Completely Crackers bingo night, if you're local, then that is still time to come and join us for that. That's always good fun. We should do 3 little Christmassy projects this time, 3 little projects and 3 games of bingo, and all the prizes are brand new Stamping Up goodies. So that's good fun. £15 a ticket, but that gets ploughed back into providing the prizes. Saturday morning, I've got a lovely class planned, creating the countdown calendar, countdown kit, the box, the drawers, the advent drawers. And if you would still like to do that kit, and haven't booked on to Saturday morning, you know, you can obviously just buy the kit, or we could organise a little private get together. That's absolutely fine. And then next week I am off, next Wednesday, flying off to Germany for Stamping Up's on stage, so Stamping Up's convention, which is going to be running. I've got an event Wednesday evening, and then it will be running half of the day on Thursday, a good chunk of the day on Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday, and then I shall be flying back on Sunday. So I've got all that to plan for next week as well. So busy. My mum always said it is better to wear out than rust, and I think she is very right. I don't have time to sit round and rust. Okay, so thank you for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed that card. As I say, do come back and find us again on Thursday when we should be making a couple of more projects with this wrapped in plaid suite. That's another job I've got, is to plan what we're going to do on Thursday. But as I say, it probably will be a little bit earlier in the day, just because I've got my bingo on Thursday night. So have a good week, everybody, and I will catch up with you on well, Wednesday if you join in, and if you come and join me for my Back to Basics class. Thursday if you're coming to do some perfectly plaid crafting. So see you later in the week.